so today's video is about the ASCI guidelines. Basically, I've been getting a lot of questions over the past few months from you guys in terms of how ASCI works, what is ASCI, what are the guidelines, from both creators as well as, people who watch content and want to understand them better. So I thought I would kind of break down the guidelines for you guys. So here we go. Okay, first let's start with context. Who is ASCI? ASCI is the Advertising Standards Council of India. Why are they doing this? Because they want more transparency and they want the industry to be more ethical. What do I mean when I say this? They want everybody to know an ad is an ad. And somewhere with, television, that's clear. With print media, it's clear most of the time. Unfortunately, with influencer marketing, there was a bit of a gray area and there still is, sadly, where you can't really tell if something is a paid promotion or if the creator genuinely likes this product or not. So that's what the guidelines are for. ASCI is a self-regulatory body. So it is about the creators, people from the industry, brands all working together to make the industry a better place. And of course, as consumers, you can complain to ASCI if you feel like someone is not following these guidelines. We will get to that in a bit, but that is why these guidelines exist, basically. So there's more transparency and it's more ethical. And you guys know I've been all about this for a few years now. And I feel like it's about time we all change as creators, as brands. And if it's a paid promotion, there needs to be that declaration. It cannot be something that you just slip in or slide in, which used to be the norm earlier. But I feel like we need to change that now. So we have the guidelines for that reason. Influencer. An influencer is somebody who has access to an audience and the power to affect their audience's purchasing decisions or opinions about a product, service, brand, or experience because of the influencer's authority, knowledge, position, or relationship with their audience. So now, what do they mean by this definition? Who is an influencer? It's not just influencers in the typical sense of influencers that you see on social media. Everybody that has a following or an audience that is impressionable is technically an influencer. So it's a very vast definition, covers all kinds of creators, actors, bloggers, stylists, singers, anyone basically that has, an impressionable audience and has the power to influence their audience. So it's not specifically only for creator/influencers. It is for people across the board that are influencers as per this definition. That's the first thing you want to kind of know, because a lot of people think this only affects influencers or creators. It doesn't. It is everybody across social media. So if you see an actor breaking the rules, you can complain. The first thing you will see in the guidelines is the page on material connection. What is a material connection, guys? I know a lot of you are going to ask this question. So let's go to the definition first. A material connection is any connection between an advertiser and an influencer. It may affect the weight or credibility of the representation made by the influencer. Material connection could include, but is not limited to, benefits and incentives such as monetary or other compensation, free products with or without any conditions attached, including those received unsolicited, discounts, gifts, contests, and sweepstake entries, trips or hotel stays, media barters, coverage, awards, or any family or employment relationship. What this means is basically it includes anything and everything. If there is a material connection in any form or shape where you have not gone and bought a product or a service and you're reviewing it or mentioning it, you need to put out some kind of a declaration. So what this basically means is, in the case of creators specifically, we get a lot of free trips or sponsorships, right? You're sent on a fam trip, which is actually called a familiarization trip, which, tourism departments send you on those trips, airlines send you on the trips, hotels invite you on the trips, where there's no money exchange, but there's obviously a set of deliverables and that you discuss with the brand or whoever it is and say that I will give you this in terms of coverage on my social media as in return for a trip for 2 days, 3 days, stay in your hotel, flight tickets, whatever the compensation is. So in case of travel, there is actually no money exchange a lot of the times, but there is still a material connection, right? That's where we establish material connection. The other way is obviously gifts. We get a lot of PR packages, as you see. if those are not declared as a gift, like if you assume I went out and bought an item that I got as a PR package, or if I'm trying to make you believe I bought an item that I got in a PR package, then you can go and complain about me and say that is not true. This is not something she bought. And we will get to how we prove all this in a bit, but this is basically the basis of the guidelines, that you have to declare everything. There's a really important point in the guide to the guidelines. Yes, there is also a guide to the guidelines for creators. So nobody can be like, oh, I didn't understand this, or I didn't understand. Everything is broken down, detailed for every person to understand. In the guide to the guidelines, they say, when in doubt, call it out. So if you think you should I be posting this or not? Should I be tagging this or not? You should. And I think that's a great way to like kind of, demarcate if you're unsure. So if you haven't paid for a service or a product and you're talking about it and there's a material connection, some kind of declaration has to go through. Now let's talk about what that declaration needs to be. Disclosure. All advertisements published by social media influencers or their representatives on such influencers' accounts must carry a disclosure label that clearly identifies as an advertisement. Disclosure is required if there's any material connection between the advertiser and the influencer. Again, material connections are not necessarily only paid collaboration. There are certain labels that ASCI has put out that you can use to, put out this disclosure about how this is an advertisement. It does not mean that if you haven't been paid for something, there is not an ad. Okay, that is the biggest misconception and the first myth. There are many things such as barter. So when we agree to certain number of products or services in return of certain deliverables, that would be a barter. That is not something that is free and you're just, getting it for free just because you're a creator. PR packages often are just gifts. They come with no conditions or deliverables of you posting them. And most people post them as a thank you to the brand to say thank you for sending this. And that's kind of how the whole thing, started and got into the space of brands sending creators or influencers packages and then posting them and, getting coverage from it. So disclosures for all these things are a must. What kind of a disclosure you pick will depend on the kind of material connection the brand and the influencer has. But before that, what kind of disclosure do you have to post and how do you post it is the question, right? So it's really clearly mentioned that everywhere you have to use the specific disclosure labels that ASCI has put out to disclose to your audience, what you're doing and what is the connection with the brand. The other thing is, if there's a paid partnership, it has to be disclosed as a clear advertisement. If any, there's a barter, there's monetary exchange, it is an advertisement, and that clearly needs to go with a hashtag ad or advertisement, and should also be mentioned in the caption of the said content piece or wherever possible. So for example, on YouTube, if I were to do a brand integration in one of my videos, when you upload your video, you have an option to tick a box that says there is a product placement or brand integration in this video. And then you see the sponsored thing on the corner of your screen saying that there is a paid collaboration in this video, which is one way of doing it. The other way is obviously including hashtag ad in your title, description, wherever possible. Also saying it verbally in a video, saying this is a collaboration with someone, this is sponsored, there are of course different terms, but it all means that there is a material connection. Similarly, on Instagram, we have the paid partnership tag, which you can use for any kind of paid partnership where there is an exchange of, monetary or otherwise. If it's a collaboration, what do I mean by if it's not and if it's a collaboration? So there are many times we have things like sourcing outfits, right? Where we, borrow an outfit from a designer, wear to an important event, post a picture in the outfit, but the outfit is being returned and it's not something that stays with me. So it would not be gifted. It would not be, I wasn't paid for this either. So it's not a paid ad, but it is some kind of a collaboration where we've agreed to, it's understood that I'm going to share this and promote the designer's work and wear the clothes. So it's a collaboration. Similarly, sometimes hotel stays, things like that. There is no kind of deliverables. They just call you and say, we want you to come experience the property. And if you want to post, feel free to post whatever you want to post. These are handles and hashtags. If you don't, you don't. So in that case, again, I would say it's a collaboration because it's not a fixed set of deliverables where it is an ad or a barter. It's more like, okay, we want you to come and experience this. And if you want to share something, share it. If you don't, you don't. So that would also be more as a collaboration than an advertisement, but you can actually also put it as an ad if you've agreed to certain terms. So it is a little confusing initially when you're a creator and you're thinking, would this be an ad? Would this be a collab? Would this be, what would this be? But it's really easy once you understand the guidelines and, say, okay, this would be this, this would be this, this would be this. So even as I think audience members or people that are viewing content or consumers of content, you need to be aware of these terms and understand that, okay, this is a collaboration. Yes. Okay. This is an ad. Yes. Why is there nothing declared here? This person needs to be complained about or whatever, like those are the things you guys need to be aware of as well. Another thing creators often say that I've been using this product for years, so why should I have to say that this is an ad? I've mentioned it in 200 videos before or 200 posts before when I wasn't paid. So now that I'm getting paid, why should I have to say it? It does not matter if there's any material exchange now or later or whenever. You have to disclose it, and also the disclosure should not be hidden. So again, you've seen a lot of people do ad with a zillion hashtags. With no paid partnership tag. You should be putting as many disclosures as possible to declare that this content is sponsored, as opposed to hiding the disclosure. The disclosure is meant for your audience to know immediately that this content is sponsored content. So if it's not seen in the video, it's a clear indicator in cases like stories or other on Snapchat where it's just video. If you're not really putting any text, there needs to be a hashtag ad in the video or mention of it that this part is sponsored. So it's across the board. Again, this goes across audio, video, images, across platforms. This is not specifically for Instagram, guys. This is for every social media platform. It's also for audio platforms. So like, for example, if I were doing a sponsored room on Clubhouse, I would have to declare it there as well in the title, or I would have to start my room by saying this room is sponsored by XYZ brand. So yeah, this disclosure is not specifically for Instagram or images. It is across the board on various platforms and across different spaces of every platform. So it applies to stories, reels, posts, videos, everything. So it shouldn't be that, oh, I put hashtag ad on the main post, but I didn't do it in my stories. That is still a violation of the guidelines. You have to put hashtag ad or a disclosure label everywhere there is sponsored content. Okay, now we come to the actual disclosure labels. What are these disclosure labels and what are the hashtags that you can use to disclose, a material connection in your content? Number 1, advertisement. Number 2, ad. Next up, we have sponsored, collaboration, partnership, employee, free gift. Now, what do these mean? You guys know the obvious ones. Ad, advertisement, sponsored would all mean that there's obviously some kind of material connection and some kind of sponsored element to this, where there's an exchange of deliverables for a monetary exchange, services or products. Those are all ads. Collaboration is a bit more broader. As I said, it could mean sourcing an outfit. It could mean something that doesn't come with strings attached, like a free hotel stay where they've told you, as I explained earlier, post if you want to, don't post if you don't want to. Or like gray areas like that would come under collaboration. But otherwise, everything else would be hashtag ad, advertisement, sponsored. So a lot of brands have partner programs that we work with creators and influencers on, where they keep giving you free products as they launch and things like that. But they don't really pay you or have specific deliverables for, the content and stuff like that. That could be a partnership. An employee is basically when you work for a brand, or if you own the brand, or if you own stake in the brand and you're sharing it, you'd be employee. Or even if you work for a PR company of the brand, like for example, if you're a person that works in PR and you work with a company that just does the PR of a brand, and you're at their event and you post something, you would use the hashtag employee, because there's no material gain other than the employment with the PR firm that's connected to the brand. So it's very specific, very easy to kind of find the right disclosure label if you actually study them and understand what your content and material connection falls under. And last but not the least, we obviously have free gift, but obviously people are also using the hashtag gifted. Like, I prefer using gifted because I just feel like it sounds better than free gift. Free gift sounds like, okay, here's a free promo, you know what I mean? When someone sends you a PR package, I prefer to use the hashtag gifted. It means the same thing, obviously. But basically, again, no strings attached, no deliverables, just a gift. Okay, let's talk about clause 1.5, which is really, really important. Okay, so most people believe that the ASCI guidelines are for influencers or creators or celebrities or whoever's posting this content. but it also applies to the brand in question. So, for example, if I, Scherezade Shroff, post a piece of content about a brand and you feel that I have violated the ASCI guidelines and you complain against me, then the brand and I will get a notice from ASCI saying that we believe you have violated the guidelines. So both parties are held responsible. It is not just the influencer or the creator. So it's really important to take this up and, complain when you see a violation, because obviously this is going to change how brands work as well, because they will also be receiving a complaint and then they will realize that, okay, we can't do this, or we can't just pass this off as, an organic collaboration or whatever that's supposed to mean. If it's a collaboration, it's a collaboration and things like that. So I think it's really important to note that the first thing you want to do is, if you see someone violating the guidelines, complain, call them out. It's really, really easy. Actually, we'll get to that process in a bit. But yeah, creators like myself, if you see me violating the guidelines, call me out or comment on my, content and say, Sherry, this seems like a paid partnership if I haven't declared it. And I will have to explain to you and ASCI as well why I have not used the hashtags if I haven't, or I will have to add those hashtags or submit proof to ASCI as to why I haven't violated the guidelines. So it is pretty, structured once you get to the whole process of doing things. And both the brands and the creators or influencers are liable when there's a piece of content that goes up. Then we have the point on due diligence again, which is one of my favorites, which basically is that, influencers or creators have to be satisfied about the claims they talk about that a brand is making as well. So very often you see, claims like 20% brighter, whiter, cleaner, whatever, stuff like that, which as a creator, if I make that claim, I have to be convinced, I have to believe that that claim is true if I mention it in my content. Or if a brand mentions it, then they are also liable. And as a consumer, you can obviously question that and say, how is this, true? So creators have to do their due diligence and have to test products before they actually promote them. So if you feel like a person has not done their due diligence, that is also a reason to complain. And as I said, once you complain, obviously the onus is on the creator and the brand, or the influencer and the brand, to prove why those declarations were not mentioned if there is no material connection between them. And if there is the material connection, then they have to delete that post or change those things. Now, how do you complain? Okay, it's really, really simple. ASCI has actually made the process really easy. So you can just basically go onto their website. There's a complaint form. You can fill that out there. You can WhatsApp them on a number, which is like the best thing. Like, you share the link of the content, WhatsApp them there. That's possible as well. You can also go onto their app or email them. It's a really, really easy, streamlined process. And once you make your official complaint, you will hear back from ASCI after a certain period of time about what happened about that content piece, whether the influencer took it down, whether they corrected it. What happened with your complaint is something you will know. So it's not just about complaining and forgetting about it either. You will see the final outcome of your complaint as well. So guys, those are the ASCI guidelines. They sound intimidating at first. They sound like, oh my God, there's so much happening. What am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to do it? Which one am I supposed to use? But it's actually really, really easy. As I said, there's also a guide to the guidelines. I will be linking everything in the description. So there's the ASCI influencer guide, which is like the official guide. There's also a guide to the guide for people like creators, influencers, to understand exactly content specific, platform specific, what kind of disclosure labels to use, all of that, if you have any doubts. And you can always reach out to ASCI if you have any doubts. So that's what I usually do. When I have a doubt about where something falls, I would reach out to ASCI and say, guys, this is my collaboration situation. Where would it fit in? I think it's this. Am I right? Am I wrong? And they will help you with that as well. But yeah, of course, when in doubt, call it out. Use some kind of declaration is better than using no declaration, saying I didn't know which one to use, right? So I guess you can always, everything is a collaboration always anyways, if it's not an ad. Most things are an ad anyways. So that's another easy hashtag to use in my opinion. And yeah, I think this is all for the better of the industry. I really, really hope that more and more creators and influencers start using the hashtag, because I feel like it's only fair that people viewing this content know that there is a material connection between the influencer or the creator and a brand or service. And yeah, it's the best way forward to make the industry more transparent. And also, I think there's no shame in doing a paid partnership with a brand that you genuinely believe in, right? This is a job at the end of the day, like any other job. And I think that's the important part, that there's no reason to hide it. You should be proud that you're collaborating with a brand and putting out some declaration about it. So guys, if you still have any doubts about the ASCI guidelines, leave them in the comments. I will try and see if there's anyone from ASCI that can reply to your doubts and respond to your queries and questions. If you have any queries and questions as consumers of content, or as creators, or as influencers, also you can post them in the comment section. I will try and get someone from ASCI to look at them if there's anything, and to answer them for you and help you. But yeah, I think in the long run, this is really going to help the industry become more transparent. And I think it's going to make it better for both consumers as well as creators. And it's a step in the right direction. So let's all follow the guidelines. And yeah, if you feel like anyone is violating the guidelines, I think follow process, complain about that, and let's change things for the better. See you guys. Bye.